Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to see how to adjust a worksheet. Let's see those one by one. Very first thing you see, there's the inserting and deleting cells. Let's see how to insert a cell. So I'll keep my cursor in one cell. Let's say I kept my cursor in Wednesday. Right-click on the cell. When you right-click on the cell, you'll get loads of options. From there, I'll select the option as Insert. The moment I click on Insert, I'll get a dialog box. In that dialog box, it will ask you for options. Do you want to shift the cells down? Or do you want to shift the cells right? So I'll select the first option. Let's say I'll shift the cells right. And the moment I click on OK, all the cells will be shifted to right. And there will be a gap in between. So I'll click on OK. So you see, there's a gap in between. And the cells are shifted right. One more in this if I want to shift the cells down. This, if I keep my cursor here. And if I right-click on this option. And then I go for the Insert Cells. Insert. And now I'll start the second option. That is shift cells down. The moment I click on OK, all the cells will be shifted down, and there will be a gap in this place. A new cell will be inserted. So I'll click on OK, and you see, there's a cell inserted. Now, I'll go for the vice versa, the other way. So I'll go for deleting a cell. Similarly, just keep my cursor here, right-click on the option, and then I'll go for selecting the delete option here. When I click on delete, the same options will be repeated, but in the other language it says, do you want to shift the cells left? Or do you want to shift the cells up? Or enter row, enter column. So right now, for this cell, I'll say is shift cells left. So this cell which I've inserted in previous one, so that will be deleted now. So I'll click on OK, see, it's deleted. Another example, again, so I'll keep my cursor here, right-click on the screen, and I'll click on delete option. So once I click on delete, now we'll use the second option, shift cells up. So once I click on OK, all the cells will be shifted up, and the cell will be deleted itself. Now, there are two more options available. Let's try those all. So I'll right-click on this option, and you see, there's an insert option. So once I click on insert, the remaining two options are insert entire row. So there will be entire row which will be inserted. So this row will be shifted down. So once I click on this option and I click on OK, so entire row will be inserted, which is a blank when I select this option. And I select insert and the fourth one. If you see insert entire column, earlier there was a row inserted, but now there will be a column inserted. So I'll select the fourth option. The column will be inserted, and this column will be shifted to right. That's also if I've inserted now, I'll go for deleting the cells. Same way, I'll keep my cursor here, select the option as delete, enter row. So it is asking me to delete the entire row. So this row will be deleted. I'll click on OK. Similarly, if I select this option, right-click on this option, and I say as delete. Now, want to delete the entire column. So this column will be deleted, and this will be shifted on the left-hand side. Selected entire column, and OK. So that's how you can play with inserting cells and deleting cells. Next, let's see how to insert and delete rows. Let's see those one by one. If I want to insert a row about the fourth row, that is, inserting and deleting columns. If I want to insert a row about this one, how do I do that? I'll just right-click on the number 4. That is the column. That is the row heading. Right-click on this option, and you can see as insert. The moment I click on insert, a row will be inserted above the selected row. So I'll click on insert. You see that. But this method, you can add one row at a time. How about if you want to add 3 rows? So if you want to add 3 rows, you have to select 3 rows first. So I'll select this 3 rows like this. Right-click on the rows and then I'll click on insert. So I've selected 3 rows now. The 3 empty rows will be added above this 3 rows. So I'll click on insert, and you see, there are 3 more empty rows, which I added. So this was how do you add rows or row. Secondly, if you want to delete is the same method. So if I want to delete the 3 rows, I'll select this 3 empty rows, right-click on this option, and I'll click on delete. And when I click on delete, the selected rows will be deleted. This was deleting 3 rows. How about deleting one row? So I'll just right-click on one row. First, I'll select the entire row, right-click, and I'll click on delete. So once I click on delete, the entire row gets deleted. So this method you can delete row or rows. Insert row or rows. Next we have, how do we insert or delete column or columns? Similarly, how we have inserted and deleted rows will do for the columns. So I'll select one column. Let's say I've selected one column as D, and I'll right-click on that option. So once I right-click on this place, and I can click on insert. The moment I click on insert, this column will be shifted on the right-hand side, and the empty column will be inserted. So I'll click on insert. Any column is inserted. If I want to add two columns, I'll select two columns, and then I'll click on insert option. So I'll select this two columns, which are empty or non-empty. Doesn't matter then. Right-click on this option, and you can click on insert. Once you click on insert, two empty row columns will be added. Similarly, if you want to delete the columns, same method. So I'll select this four empty columns, right-click on this column heading, and I'll click on delete. So once I click on delete, all the columns will be deleted which I've selected. So this way, you can insert or delete column or columns in this. Next we have, how do we resize a column and a row size? There are shortcut and long cut methods also. I'll go first. We go with the shortcut method. If you keep your cursor, suppose this is the C column. I want to increase the width of this column. So how do I do that when you have a mouse? You can just keep your cursor between two column headings, that is, C and D, until you get this kind of sign. You have to keep your cursor there, and then click and drag. Expand till you want the width of the column. Minimize till you want the width of the column. So this way, you can increase or decrease the width of the column. But sometimes, when you don't have a mouse, that time, you have to go to the tabs and find out the option. How do you go there? So you see in the Home tab on the right-hand side, you see, there's an option as Format. And here, if you see, there's a column width. The third option, which is a column width. So I'll click on this column, width. Now, this column, width, they'll ask you the size of the column. Right now it is saying as column width is 8.43. Now, I delete and I'll say as I want, 20.4. So column E will be shifted from 8.43 to 20.4. So I'll delete 20.4, and the moment I press enter, that is okay. So the size increases similarly. If you want to decrease the width of the column, same method. So you can go to this Format in the Home tab. Then you can click on this column width. And now I don't want 20.4. I just want as 4, and I'll click on OK. So this column width has become as full. Similarly, I've increased and decreased the column width. I can go for the same for row height. How do I go? I'll go to the Home tab Format. And you see, the very first option, which is given here as row height. So in this row height, it will change the row height of that row, which my cursor is present. So my cursor is present in row number 3. So now the height of this row is 18. So I'll delete and make it as 28, and I'll click on OK. So the row height will increase to 28 this way. Similarly, if you want to decrease, the same method is available, but sometimes we need to work it very faster. That time, we cannot keep on going to the menus or tabs and keep on shifting the data. So I'll give you shortcut method. Just keep your cursor between the row headings, and then you can expand or minimize that. So you can expand or you can minimize it. Sometimes, you see, there are unwanted gap between the rows. So that time you can ask them to auto-fit. What does auto-fit says? Is whatever amount of text is present. According to that text, you have to make your size of row height. So let's see how to adjust the row height. So I'll just select this rows, and keep my cursor between the row headings, and double click so I'll select the rows. Keep my cursor between the row headings, this way and I'll just double click. The moment I double click, all the row heights will be auto-fit. So I'll just double click here. This is auto-fit. So I don't have to go back and again resize it. Similarly, for the column adjustment. So if I've increased the size of the column, and I know this column does not take this much size. Also, this column C does not take this much size. So I can just reduce it. How do I reduce it? I'll select the columns A, B, and C. Keep my cursor between any of the column headings, like this, and I'll just double-click. The moment I double-click, the column width will be auto-fit. This is the shortcut method. The long cut method, you can go, so I'll just first expand all of them. If you want a long cut method, similarly I'll select this, all the columns heading, and then I'll go to Format. And you see, there's an option as Auto-Fit Column Width. So the moment I click, it does the same option, but using a mouse will be easier, because you don't have to go to the tabs and find out the options so auto-fit column width. Now, you can see all these options are auto-fit here itself. So that's all in this video. We have seen how do we adjust a worksheet. That's all.